Hey everyone, Jimmy Hubbard, Revolver's creative director here, checking in from the Twilight Zone. I really hope all of you are staying safe and healthy out there in these crazy times. I'm joined today by Chuck Billy of Testament. We're going to be talking to Chuck today for our last show series for Road Crew Relief. We're going to be talking about some of Chuck's last shows and looking ahead to the future. Feel free to discuss the last shows you saw or played in our comments section below. And if you can, please donate via the button beneath to Crew Nation. Crew Nation is an initiative launched by Live Nation to extend a helping hand to the touring and venue crews who depend on shows to make a living. So, if you can donate a little bit, could go a long way to people that, are out of work and are normally working to ensure that we can go see shows. How you doing today, Chuck?
Hello. Yeah.
So now we're recording.
So the last show, we were on the Bay Strikes Back tour, started like February, ended March 11th, was supposed to be the last show. And we were pretty much outrunning the virus. We had to cancel a show in Italy, and we were just watching the news as other venues and capacities are starting to get smaller and smaller. And then towards the end, we were in Belgium on March 10th, and the last show was March 11th, and we were in Belgium, and it was about 5:30. Doors were at 6, and it was about 6:30. And Death Angel was going to go on at 7. And we get word that they were saying they wanted to shut down the show, due to capacity. And also news that tomorrow night in Germany, it was canceled due to, capacities. And so that was it. We're like, wow, this is it, guys. I guess this is the final show in Belgium. And it was so strange then because things were we were more worried at that point, talking amongst the bands, like getting home. That was our biggest concern, getting out of there before airports and everything. And we didn't even hear about, Trump's announcement, which came on Thursday night, so we were just, tripping out like, oh man, here it is, the last show. We announced to the crowd, sorry, but tomorrow's been canceled and tonight will be our last show, so it's a special night. We're going to kind of goof off and be a little loose. And we had guys running out singing backgrounds and just, kind of had fun with it the last night as much as we can. And then it was kind of surreal after that, then we left the show thinking, wow, we were supposed to play tomorrow, sold out, we had to cancel it. So now we're going to go just dump our gear and go home, I guess. And so the next day, I think Exodus and Death Angel went and dumped their gear in Germany, and so did we. And the bus the next morning, we woke up about 3 a.m. with the driver saying, hey, Trump just announced there's a travel ban. And we're like, oh my God, what? We're thinking we're trapped, we're stuck. And it's 3 a.m. We're on the first flight out at 6. So we're like, just go to the airport, let's go and just get on the airplane. Of course, we're traveling with all the backdrops and extra stuff because we have an American tour plan. So we got all this gear. Luckily, we get it on the plane and we take the first leg to, I think it was Germany again. And fortunately, they're like, all right, we're going home. And that was kind of it. But it was really surreal, but it was a good time the last night. The crowd really, I guess, unexpectedly had a cool evening with all the fun and shenanigans and the goodbyes. And, so, I mean, it was what it was, but, we were having a good time on that tour, really doing good. And we were looking forward to Germany and finishing the tour. We're saying, we're going to beat this thing. We're going to outrun it. We've got one more to do. And, and then we got shut down, almost shut down the night before too. So we just beat it, man.
Yeah. So it was kind of a poignant show looking back on it, to be able to have it be a kind of a positive thing the way it was. Even missing that last one, which sucks, but being able to have a loose, fun one with bands that you guys have known forever.
It was a great crowd. It was a great venue. It was a great place. It was in Belgium. It was really cool. You know, I mean, it was for us and the fans. We just, you know, we played it out and just, you know, hung out and brought everybody out, the crews, the bands, all the bands, took a big photo at the ends and just, you know, the normal stuff. And, you know, it was good last show. And we felt going home, we're like, it was a great tour. It really was, you know, we really had a good time on it. And it's not always you get to tour with your buddies like that for 5 weeks. And it was just from the get-go, getting on the plane, heading over, we knew it was going to be great. And it was all the way to the end. But we were very lucky that it didn't get canceled earlier and shut down earlier and sent home. So we're thankful that we all made it through, and none of us were sick while we were there. We all fortunately got sick as we got home, but you know, it's another story.
Yeah. I've read the Rolling Stone and different outlets, and it's crazy. Yeah. And I mean, when you guys were over there dealing with it and it was kind of all starting to come to light, I mean, did you guys feel like you had come in contact with it, or?
Well, not really, because I mean, for the most part, most of us in the entourage, you know, especially the bands, I mean, we're not like roaming the crowd or walking the streets much. We're pretty to ourselves on the bus or in the backstage venue or in catering. So a lot of us are together, you know, so, you know, who really knows? You know, I could say at the airport, you know, or maybe it was, you know, we do sign some things at the end of the night. Who knows? But, you know, we didn't feel it. I can say that till we got home, you know, and I was feeling normal till Saturday morning, and then it just hit me like a ton of bricks.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely read your guys' story a few times because it was right when everything was hitting. So it was really informative to actually to be able to read, you know, people's experiences that had actually come into contact with it, you know. So
yeah, it's not definitely not a joke. That's for sure. It's real, and I've never been that sick that long ever in my life. You know, it's you know, I could see, you know, it really doing damage, you know, to people, you know, because it's no joke. It just, you sit there and tell yourself, you know, even though once I felt better after 2.5 weeks, I was still saying, yeah, I am feeling better, but I'm not 100%. You know, I'd still do things and have to take a rest or a nap or just chill. You know, it's just, I'm all the way back 100%. You know, just going back to normal. So
great. Well, I'm glad all you guys are okay. You know, it was all things considered. It does suck that you guys just had a record come out, and I mean, obviously there's much bigger issues out there, but I know fans would love to have seen you guys tour on it.
Yeah, and eventually we will, and we're thinking up some cool things to do in the meantime until we can hopefully get back on the road. We're not setting our sights till 2021, so hopefully we do some cool things throughout this year to support this record, add to this record as some additional, you know, items. We'll see. You know, we got some things we're throwing around, but you know, and we'll be ready for when it comes out next year. And by then, everybody hopefully has heard the record, has the record, and we'll see them next year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Big fan of you guys. Have been for a very long time. So
appreciate that. Right on. Yeah, this was we're disappointed, but we are also pretty positive in the sense that there was so much going on. A lot of people would have said, why don't you stall the record? We're like, we really don't want to do that because there's so much going on and people need something new right now, and maybe put a smile on their face, maybe just something new to keep their mind away from something else. We're like, you know, the campaign's in motion. Let's just keep rolling. You know, it's a good record. I'm positive people are going to hear it and go right on and get it eventually and love it. And, you know, it is what it is. It's at this time, it's doing what it needs to do, and hopefully it's get some people through some of these hard times.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, for me, that's heavy metal has always been in a weird way, a little bit of light, you know, like people think it's dark music, but it's very positive, you know, for the listeners and a lot of the artists making it. So, you know, right now, a little bit of light and all this darkness shines a long way, you know, so.
It does. It really does. You know, I mean, that there's so much bigger things going on right now that we got to get back on track, you know, much bigger issues to get back on track.
Yeah, I'll say. So there's a couple more questions I want to go over with you, Chuck, for the last show series. So we talked about the last show that Testament played. Was there, kind of before everything hit, was there a last show that you saw as a fan?
What do we see? I mean, what did I see last before the tour? I can't really think what show I went to last before we went on tour. I mean, because, you know, we were recording the record, mixing the record, getting ready to tour. And touring, we really didn't have much time to go to many shows. I can't think of, Y&T, I think was the last one I went to, actually. A local Y&T show. They were here, that's right, maybe in Livermore, not too far from my house. It was awesome, real intimate, you know, 400-seat theater. It was awesome.
That's a good one to see.
Oh,
that's
awesome. Real intimate. It was great. Getty just shreds.
That's a great last show to see. Cool. So, hypothetical question, Chuck. We wrote these before this weekend. It's so weird reading some of this stuff after the past weekend. Hypothetical question. So, it's the last night before the end of the world, and you're booking the final concert ever. What is the lineup?
Oh, shit. Well, the big four lineup would have to be supporting Ozzy. Who else? I mean, Ozzy would definitely have to be the final headliner for me, I think. And then the big four, and then the Bay Area thrash movement. For me, that'd probably be it.
That'd be incredible. Because I've seen the tour you guys were doing out in Europe was great because it was a lot of the Bay Area thrash stuff in Europe. And I've seen a couple of tours like that here in the States, but it'd be great to see something like that when stuff opens up, Big Four and Bay Area thrash stuff. Like, that'd be awesome.
Oh, we might have something in the brewing for at least what we're doing in Europe and America. So at least say that. At least we're trying to put it together and make it happen. So, you know, I'll just leave it at that.
Great. More light to look forward to.
Yeah.
So what about if that hypothetical question defied the laws of time? You could book any band, even if they're not active or alive. What would?
Well, it'd definitely have to be Thin Lizzy, original UFO, original Skinner. Yeah, for sure. You know, Ozzy with Randy Rhoads. That lineup. Definitely early Van Halen, you know, at their prime.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go on forever, but I'd say, like, as you can tell, I'm a classic guy. Like, Thin Lizzy's like my ultimate, you know, that and like old UFO.
Cool. Yeah, I like asking that one just because whatever rolls off the top of people's heads is normally a very genuine response, you know.
Yeah.
So how have you been spending your time in quarantine since everything went down?
Well, after getting better, you know, definitely trying to get my health back in order, you know, jumping back on the bike and getting my lungs back up to par. But for the most part, you know, like everybody else, I believe, probably cleaned out every drawer and closet and garage and everything. Like, sorted out, my records and, got everything kind of organized and, a little of everything, but most of the time, at night we do things during the day, then at night we chill, get out on the boat and do a little blazing, cruising around the water and, at night. And that's it. Just, really, like I said, we're staying home a lot as much as we can, and we go shopping, we stock up and we don't really try to leave much,
Yeah, we've been doing the same, and we've definitely been staying home in Brooklyn. A lot of cleaning.
That's where Alex is. He's in Brooklyn, and he's like, when he got home from tour, he was home for a shoot. I think he said almost 2 months, pretty much just, didn't really go anywhere. Once he got home, I had to quarantine himself.
Yeah, everyone. Now there's a curfew. So what's the first thing you're going to do when the lockdown is over? Were you expecting it to go this long?
Not really, but, really when I thought about it, I was thinking, it's probably going to be long because we weren't prepared in the first place for this. And I don't think, and I think they're going to have to start making measures in case this happens again. So things are going to change, and that's going to have to be implemented everywhere. And, all the jobs lost, and businesses that lost, are going to have to try to rebuild. And, that's, and I think for us, like musicians, those promoters and venue owners that almost went out of business, I'm sure they're going to be really nervous about, paying bands the norm, what you paid them in the past, guarantees and things might be changing and going backwards a little bit. I don't know. I just see it. Promoters probably being a little more cautious at first until things really start, I don't know, a year or two before it's back to being sellouts and everybody's comfortable and there's baseball games being sold out and football events. I think once you get to those big, larger capacity things, I think the smaller concerts and everything will be, flowing again.
And it needs to, the smaller ones will be the first to kind of begin, before the larger ones. But, it's necessary for, because it's not just our personal safety, it's everyone's safety around us, so it's, I don't know.
And hopefully, I think there's been a lot of progress just with vaccines and stuff that's, at first everybody was 18 months, and I think it's probably going to be moving probably quicker. There's been a lot of progress. So hopefully we get that sooner than later. We've already been, six months probably. So, I don't know. Hopefully within a year we have something, things will get us back to normal,
Yeah.
Or at least to have the test where everybody can at least take them and know where you stand, like myself. It'd be nice. I know I was sick and I would assume I'm not, but I still have a test that says I'm not and what my antibodies are, so, and there's people that don't wear masks that think, I'm not sick, that could take those same tests and go, well, I haven't gotten sick, so maybe I need to be a little cautious. Or, or I've been sick, so okay, maybe I'm not. I even heard something today about them saying, about not wearing masks, only wearing masks if you show symptoms. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. So, Yeah,
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
It's such a simple task to do that protects yourself, family, and everyone around us, so until we know a little bit more about how to deal with it. So you haven't been tested since?
I've tested the original, but I haven't been retested.
Okay.
But there's more sites popping up now where you can go get tested to see where you stand. But I heard there's one close in Antioch now, so we might go now just to get a test. Hopefully it's not the swab. The swab was brutal, man. Up the throat and both nostrils, like it felt like it touched my back of my skull as far as they stuck that thing up there.
That's what my mom said.
Oh, it was brutal. And my nose itched for like a week. I just couldn't stop sneezing. It was just like, man, it was awful.
So you mentioned you were talking about venues and everything when it opens back up. So this series that we're doing, the last show specifically, we're doing this in a partnership with Crew Nation. That is an initiative launched by Live Nation to kind of extend a helping hand to, road crew and venues and venue crews, and to kind of help raise some money because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes for concerts that and your crew, everyone's crew plays such a big part in all of us being able to see shows. So we're doing this series to kind of help raise money for crews, for band crews and venue crews. So that was the next kind of question or part of this interview, is we wanted to ask you about Testament's crew and your crew, and if you have any stories or anything to kind of.
Well, with that Crew Nation, I believe once we got home and we knew that we were out of work for a while, they were a part of that, I believe, through Live Nation. I think got hold of us through our agent, and we put our crew in contact with Crew Nation to help them along, with no show. So that was great that something like that's available for them. It was a big help. But yeah, I mean, show doesn't happen unless the crew makes it happen. And, it's tough, when you're a crew guy, you build your calendar way in advance. You're knowing the next tour ahead of, 2 tours ahead. You're building your year. So when the whole thing goes like this, I mean, wow, unless you have something back home at a club, local club or something happened, but those are even shut down. So, I mean, you're really, they really need the help. So I'm glad Crew Nation came up with something like this, and we're a big supporter, and we'll do anything we can to help as well.
Do you guys have some roadies that have been with you guys for a while that tour with you?
Usually we've had them, but a lot of the ones we had from the 80s, they retired. we out toured them. All the old dogs retired, and so it's all new crew, but it's a family. When we have a crew, they usually stick with us, for a long time. So it's a whole new crew that's probably been with us, some of them 5, 6, 7, 8 years, possibly. Most of them live all throughout Europe and America. So they come from all parts of the world.
Cool. I think that's pretty much it for all the questions that we had for this, Chuck. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to actually, I see, is that some of the album artwork behind you?
Oh yeah. This is actually one of those, it's a 3D, like a hologram trip.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Yeah. I've actually been looking into those for Revolver for some of our
this one's very cool. It's got a bunch of really cool vinyl. I didn't even know they were doing that, and they popped up in the mail. I was all right on.
That's awesome. Huh.
Yeah.
Was the artist that did the
he's been working with since 2008, doing the Formation record all the way up till now. And he designs a lot of t-shirts, stage sets for us, all these album covers, inner sleeve stuff. So he's really good. And he really gets Eric. Eric works well with him now. So they kind of, when they come up with something, he kind of hits a nail on the head with him.
Yeah, he's done the artwork he's done for you guys for the last few albums is great. Well, it's awesome artwork. It's cool to see it behind you. Congrats on the new. I always forget release dates now because I get records.
This one was April 3rd. This came out.
Okay, so it's out now. So
it's out now. Yeah,
go pick it up.
But in just watching numbers as people can't go out and buy it compared to our digital, it was like 460% up or something crazy. That and the streaming, we're like, wow, okay, well that's good at least. So people are getting it and listening to it, so that's good.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it, Jeff.
Well, cool. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time, especially in these times.
I know, right?
I do think it's important, though. It's nice to see that people are staying active and doing things, and life goes on even in the, even in the twilight zone.
I know. It's just you wake up a day, you're like, what do I got to do today? Well, nothing. There's really there's nowhere to go, nothing to do. So, but that's good. It's I'm spending a lot of quality time with my old dog. I was like, we got an old dog, and we're like, man, he's getting so old. We're going to be on tour, and we're like, thank God we're home now. We get to be with him in case something happens to him in his old age here. So,
how old is he?
He's going to be 15. We had 4 miniature dachshunds, and 2 of them passed away that made it to 15. So we're like, oh, he's getting right up there in that age. So we're like,
Yep.
We're just kind of waiting. So, but he's in great health. So
that's good.
Yeah.
We have, it's the same. We have a 12-year-old Australian Shepherd mutt, and man, he was psyched when we were home all the time the last few months. So he's been enjoying it very much. It just got to the point where we got to start carrying him up the stairs.
Oh yeah, we had that couple dogs like that, and he's not there yet. So we're just kind of, we're taking the time, we're home with them. He's enjoying our time at home. He's happy, If something happens, he's happy as hell, man.
Dogs are the best.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, you have a good day, man.
You too, Chuck. Thanks for taking the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Right on, man. Good talking to you.
You too.
Yeah.
Take care.